There's a couple of times in my ham radio career, if you like, where I've just got fed up with it. You know, I've walked through this room in the past, I remember, because I'm busy with other things, looking at all this gear and all this money tied up in my ham radio, and I'm not using it and that sort of thing. So what I used to do is think, well, I do know I enjoy the hobby. I've got good memories of the hobby. What is it that's changed, right? Now, sometimes what's changed is, in fact, maybe your next door neighbour's got some new gear and your noise level's gone up. So I'm just going to give you a few ideas of what you can do to spice up your ham radio life, all right? Because sometimes all you need is a bit of a nudge, all right? Now, many of us heard of WSJTX, which is free piece of software, WSJTX. And here is the page where you download it from. There is a mode in there called Whisper. And I did a video about Whisper. And what Whisper is, I'm just looking it up now. So how Whisper works is that if you've got the clock cycle every 60 seconds, all right, and you transmit for 1 minute 55, I think, these tones, all right, and you only need 5 watts, you can get all the way around the world. I mean, you can sit there and just watch it, and then what you do is you can go on PSK Reporter, and that's it. In fact, there's another website I seem to remember. It's called, here we are, whisper.aprs.info.com, and you can, I mean, I'm not going to be in here, so let's just see what spots there are over the last hour. Here's some Whisper spots. There's a station here, look, AA6RF. And you can see, and it might actually tell us more information. So he's on 0.2 of a watt. There we are. And he's getting out. What frequency is all this on? So he's on the 40 meter band. By the look of it, just having some fun. So Whisper can be good fun. And I'll just invite you to, I mean, I'll put a link to that video if you want to have a look at Whisper. All right. So once you're playing digital tones and you can get your radio and your computer working together, there might be some other things you could do. Maybe have a look at FL Digi. Now, I seem to remember trying to install FL Digi, and I was going to make a video out of this, but it wouldn't go very well for me. For some reason, I don't know why. But FL Digi is pretty good fun. It's, I think, a logbook as well. And the mode that seems to be having a bit of a resurgence at the moment is MFSK16. Now, MFSK16, if you go on Canva or whatever, you can make a thumbnail which is probably 150 pixels by 150 pixels, your call sign, you know, picture your motorbike or whatever you've got. And you can send a colour picture on MFSK16, because I remember one morning I'm in here waiting to go to work and I'm having my first contact on MFSK16, and the guy at the other end, I was just typing to him, you know, back to you. He said, "Are you ready to send picture?" And I thought, I don't know what the hell he's on about. And sure enough, it works. He just sent me a picture. The software does it, you know. It takes a bit of a time. It's like slow scan TV. SSTV. If you don't know what that is, that's like a colour fax, basically. FL Digi, I think, has got that in it as well. You can do that as well. And it's a typical sort of postcard size, you know, and you can make it nice. You know, picture of you or your antenna, you know, whatever, things like that. Sort of a 6x4 type thing. SSTV. And there's plenty of examples on the internet. SSTV images, there we are, plenty. So have a go at FL Digi if you've never done it before, you know, get it working. The other thing, if you're just a bit bored or whatever else, I do see some people going, oh, MMANA is a bit much for me. You know, the MMANA, I use it quite a lot. It's, you know, make your first vertical. Here we are, I'll just do it for you. Just type this in, 7.2 in there. Put wire 1 base there and put 10.2 there. You've just made your first vertical, and there it is there. You can rotate it around, and then you can go and calculate. Hit the start button, there's your SWR, And there's your far field plot. All right. From there, make a dipole. I've done a video. I'll put it in the link. Make a dipole. Have some fun. Do an inverted V. Get your antenna, make a copy of it, just see where it's going. So that's quite good fun as well, because antennas are the key to this hobby, aren't they? Maybe learn a bit about receive loops. So you can do a search on the internet for loop on ground. The first hit, I think, is this one here. Loop on ground, the log, right? And it literally is a loop of wire under the leaves on the ground, and it's got a little, I think, let's see if I can zoom this in a bit for you. It's called a binocular core ferrite. A couple of windings. You can either make them, now for shillings, right? It's an old currency not used anymore in this country, but you can make them for shillings, or you can buy one. In fact, I just spotted my friend. Do you remember when Isabella called in the other day? Who's the mic? Can I have the young lady or young person with the mic kilo, please, only?
Mike Zero, Lima Mike Kilo.
It was her dad who was running the station. So, yeah, he does a loop on the ground. In fact, I bought 10 to sell, and they're still in the box. But loop on the ground. And then just play with some receive ideas. Ideally, you need 2 bits of coax going out into the back, if you know what I mean. So you can switch between the two. If you've got a 2 VFO rig, I mean, I'm very lucky, I've got a 2 VFO radio. You can then put one in one ear and one in the other. And the thing is, with radios, modern radio's got a preamp button, right, which will give you about 100 times the amount of signal, about 20 dB, I think. In fact, if you know what the amount of preamp there is on average on a 40 meter band, perhaps you let me know. I keep thinking it's about 20 dB, but I might be wrong, you know. So loop on the ground, what that does, and I've made videos about this, it cuts down the local crud, the noise from your neighbour's fairy lights and all that sort of stuff. Loop on the ground, give it a go. If not, I tell you what you can do is a very low to the ground dipole. Even get it resonant on 60 metres, 80 metres, 40 metres. And you'll find, I mean, I've got a tree in the kind of forest where my antennas are. So I was getting the right pen. I got a really low to the ground 40 metre. Actually, it's 40 and 80. It's a dipole. It's a fan dipole. Really low. I mean, I can touch it with my hand. I've discovered that's a great little receive antenna when I got the preamp switched in. Noise goes down, signal comes up. So have a learn, just read about loops on the ground, even if you don't make one. Just to understand the concept of receive antennas and why they're really handy to have. So that's interesting as well. There may be some UHF or VHF activity days or nights. If you've got a multi-mode radio, TS2000 or something that'll do 2 meters on SSB, you can join in. By the way, I had a V2000, I've still got it, V2000 diamond on the roof. And even though I'm vertically polarized, I still entered an SSB contest one night. And I was moderately successful. It was jolly good fun. So you will get out because particularly like a 258, which is a V2000, it's got really low angle radiation pattern. So even though you're technically minus 20 dB because of the polarization differences, everybody else has got beams. And as soon as they beam to you, you'll hear them. So activity nights, play on 2 and 70, maybe that might inspire you too. On the other hand, if you know that there's maybe a long weekend coming up and maybe your partner's doing something else or you live on your own, whatever, get a friend of yours, pack a picnic, and go out and do a bit of portable. 20 meters or something on 40. It's just fun to get out in the clear where, I mean, you don't have to go on a hill, do you? But it's nice to get out and about, maybe do a park on the air or something, just to get that super quiet sound that you get when you're out in the countryside. It's really lovely on RF, isn't it? And you'll create some good memories and take some pictures, bit of video, whatever. Just M0, MCX, portable. I'm just having some fun with a picnic for a couple of hours up in the hills. And why not? Now, here's one for you. And I made a video about this a long time ago and it's ready for an update. WinLink, Okay, so WinLink is email over HF, and there's quite a big following. Now, in the UK, we can't run a WinLink server. It's unfortunate. We just can't. But WinLink, you start here, WinLink, global radio email. It works very well. Now, if you're in the UK, there's no UK servers, but on, like 30 meters, 17 meters, 40 meters, there are servers around Europe. So it's your computer just goes, and then the server goes, and you can send an email over HF. So if you've never done email over HF, it's a great feeling. It takes a bit just to understand that you need the email address from these people and all that sort of thing. But after a couple of hours of sorting, you should be able to send your first email over HF. Right, now this one is done to death, but have you considered learning Morse code, CW? I downloaded, here we are, Morse Trainer, using the Koch method, which sends you 2 letters, then 3 letters, then 4 letters, and then you score yourself. And when you've got, more than 90%, you move on to the next letter. I got as far as K and R. But I did, years ago, complete my first ever contact once. It was a guy called Simon in Swindon. And the only reason I think I managed to complete the contact is that I was quite good with the letters for Swindon and Simon. I really stuck for time, and myself, I'd love to learn CW. There's a whole world in there that's locked out to us if we don't know it. So have a go, learn a letter a week or something. I'll tell you what it is though, you can't really learn CW a letter a week thinking about it. It's one of these things that just takes commitment. But if you did 20 minutes a night, before your dinner or something, you would very quickly get up to speed. Young James, forget his call sign, it'll come to me. His 590's got a CW reader, and basically because he's young and his brain is super plastic, he reckoned he learned CW in a weekend. But that's youth for you, right? It takes old people like me a little bit longer. Got another challenge for you. I'm just reading my notes here. Is that a while ago, for nearly a year, I did 1 QSO per day minimum, which means I've got to put the radio on, I've got to find someone to talk to or call CQ and have a QSO a day. Because if you think about it, if you had 365 contacts over the course of a year and your radio costs, let's say, 1,400 shillings, dollars, pounds or whatever else, and you calculated it's $1 a QSO, you'll have paid for the radio in about 4 years. That's one way of looking at it, isn't it? But set yourself a challenge. If it's just sitting there doing nothing, I mean, at least switch it on and do some shortwave listening. But ideally, either pick up the microphone or your key or do a bit of digital. Have an MFSK 16 contact, PSK 31. There's people still doing that. Or JT 65, whatever. Back to my notes. Maybe look at some new logging software. I know we've done a big thing on Station Master here. I don't have any money in the game on Station Master. I just think it's great that Stu's come along and done something. And I know he's got sort of Mark II planned, which is quite nice. Understand maybe how Logbook of the World works. Understand maybe export your log to the whole of QRZ. Check out your rankings. If you worked all states, how many countries have you worked? Things like that. Just get actively involved. Look at the history of what you've done and see if you can upload it somewhere and get a report. That's quite good fun as well. And the other thing, and I've made a video about this, how about entering a contest for the first time? Now, I have spoken to people who've given me a serial number and they've said, because I was in a contest, they said, I'm not in the contest. I said, well, you are now because you've just given me a serial number. That's it. There's no paperwork. You can give 10 contacts away and then stop. It's up to you. There's nothing you can do. You don't have to enter to enter. There we are. Just do it. And at the end, switch it off. Now, ideally, the contest organizer really wants you to export your log just so they've got a bigger picture. You don't have to. Now, being the sort of person I am, I couldn't finish this out without maybe suggesting you did something on the antenna front. I know I talked about the loop on the ground earlier on, but let's say you feel you're not very competitive on, let's say, 17 metre band. All right. So how about if you've got a little tree in the garden, you could make a little vertical, right? Now, I've done this before, but just in case, it's a piece of wire, and I've got the measurements here for you. If it's for the 17 metre band, that's going to be 3.85 metres, but I've got it in American money as well. I calculate that that is 151 inches, right? And I'm saying it in inches because it's just over 12.5 feet, and I'm not quite sure exactly if an inch is decimal or 16ths or whatever else. Cut a wire at 151 inches or 3.85 metres. All right, get your coax here, obviously bigger to scale. That is soldered or wire wrapped with a bit of tape, whatever else here, and then get a, you just expose the braid here and get any lengths of wires, any at all, from about 6 feet to 10 feet long, let's say, be absolutely ample. 10 or 20 of them, some old Ethernet cables stripped out, just lay it on the grass under the tree. All right. And then use the M0 SWR calculator. So you'll find somebody, very kind person, who was it now? Orbs UK on YouTube. So let's say you're trying to get it at 18.1, but in fact it's resonant at 17.9, and you're aiming for 18.1. It will tell you to cut 4.31 centimetres, about 1.5 inches. Okay, and you'll be cock on then. I'm saying the 17 metre band because you can be that much out on 17 metres and you'll still be within 1.5 to 1. But you'll be a little bit competitive on 17 now if you've not got like big towers and everything. And it's a nice little band to have. All right, so if you've got a contest running and you don't want to enter a contest, you can still play on 17 metres. JG65, Whisper, whatever you want. So there's an idea for you. The other idea, do you remember I was just talking about this tree here and a really low to the ground dipole? Give that a go as well. You'll find it'll need to be shorter. So you'll build this thing thinking that's going to be, if it's a low to the ground, fence height, okay, 5, 6 feet, 1.5, 2 metres. And you'll probably end up making it too long and you'll have to cut a bit off if you want to transmit on it. But you'll find it will receive nice. And during the day, you will get a lovely bubble of RF. So that, certainly in your state, all right, if you're in the US, but if you're in the UK, you cover the whole of the UK with that, all right. Good 200-300 miles during the day. Really nice on 40 metres. I think that is about it for the ideas of today. I think thinking about it, I've just realised I think I may have made a video like this before. I'm sorry if I have. But obviously I've done it in a new style and I've got a different way of doing things. Start again. If you've got an idea of what else we should have added into this video, I should let me know down below. Because other ideas to learn and whatever is handy, isn't it? The only thing is, if you put a link, right, a URL, that will be held for review. So just beware. Just say Google search this, if you know what I mean. Then it will automatically go in. All right. There we are. Ideas for a rainy day. All right. From Callum here in the bunker. Have a jolly good day. See you next time. I'll do the salute. All the best now.